Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 with me, Frank Pereira, on Rajya Sabha television. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hits out at opposition for disruptions in Parliament, tells public rally in Gujarat that he's addressing the Jan Sabha since he isn't being allowed to speak in the Lok Sabha. CBI granted 4-day custody of former Air Force Chief SP Tyagi in Patiala House Court. Delhi police arrests lawyer Gautam Khaitan and Tyagi's cousin Sanjeev Tyagi in the case. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam chairs first meeting of his cabinet in Chennai. Senior AIADMK leaders asked Shashikala to occupy the post of party General Secretary. And US President-elect Donald Trump's transition team slams the CIA. The American investigation agency says it's convinced that Russia intervened in the election to help Trump win. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on a day-long visit to Gujarat today. He inaugurated a cheese plant in Banaskantha district and addressed a public rally. He assured people that the problems caused by demonetization will remain only for 50 days, following which things will return to normal. He also attacked opposition parties for causing disruptions over the issue in Parliament, while accusing them of not letting him speak in the House.
सरकार कहती है हम चर्चा चाहते हैं, सरकार कहती है प्रधानमंत्री बोलने के लिए तैयार है, सरकार कहती है प्रधानमंत्री आकर के कहने को तैयार है, लेकिन उनको मालूम है उनका झूठ टिक नहीं पाता है और इसलिए वो चर्चा से भागते रहे हैं और इसलिए लोकसभा में मुझे नहीं बोलने दिया जाता, मैंने जनसभा में बोलने का रास्ता चुन लिया है.
The Prime Minister echoing the same charge that Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi levelled against his government on Friday. Addressing a rally in his home state Gujarat, Narendra Modi hit back at the opposition parties for disrupting Parliament on the demonetization exercise. He said even the President is unhappy with the state of affairs.
मैं विरोध पक्ष के मित्रों से कहना चाहता हूं, आप ये तो नहीं कहने की हिम्मत कर रहे हो कि मोदी 1000 और 500 वाला नीति वापिस ले लो, क्योंकि आपको मालूम है जनता का मिजाज बदला हुआ है. आज समय की मांग है कि आप खुल करके मेरा विरोध करिए, मेरी आलोचना करिए, लेकिन लोगों को बैंकिंग सिखाने के लिए काम कीजिए, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पद्धति से पैसे कैसे लिए जाते ये सिखाइए. हम सब मिलकर के देश को भाग्य बदलने का एक ऐसा उत्तम अवसर आया है, हम सब उसको काम करें.
The Prime Minister insisted that he understood the problems being faced by people while assuring that things will return to normal soon.
और 50 दिन ये तकलीफ होगी ही होगी और तकलीफ रोज थोड़ी बढ़ती भी जाएगी, लेकिन 50 दिन के बाद मैंने हिसाब किताब लगाया है, वो एकदम से धीरे करके पहले जैसी स्थिति की तरफ आगे बढ़ेगा. 50 दिन तक ये कठिनाइयां रहने वाली है.
The Prime Minister was on a day-long visit to Gujarat to inaugurate the 350 crore rupees cheese plant in Banaskantha district. Later, he also met his mother in Gandhinagar before leaving for Delhi. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Prime Minister's remark on demonetization at the rally in Gujarat has come under heavy attack from opposition parties. Several opposition leaders have accused the Prime Minister of being insensitive to the sufferings of the people.
The Prime Minister's statement that things will start normalizing after 50 days has further intensified the political controversy over the issue of demonetization. Several opposition parties criticized the Prime Minister, terming his attitude as being insensitive to the problems of the people.
Nobody has prevented the Prime Minister from speaking. He should not mislead the people. Only thing what opposition has asked for, that he should listen to us, participate, and answer our questions. Because it is he who made this announcement. He could have waited for the Parliament to begin on the 16th
प्रधानमंत्री जी कह रहे हैं कि मैंने जगाने के लिए ये कर दिया। मैं इसको हास्यास्पद मानता हूँ। ऐसा अजीब जगाना है। और अभी क्या है, 2000 और 500 के नोट तो है ही ना।
There is a debate, it will be a two-way traffic. Opposition will say, government will say, opposition will ask clarification. Instead of that, the Prime Minister has chosen one-way traffic. Media and public meeting, he will speak, nobody will speak back.
Such type of statements outside the parliament is not acceptable, particularly when the session is on, discussion is on. Therefore, it amply clears the situation that the government is running away from the discussion because they know there will be more discussion.
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee also tweeted criticizing the Prime Minister for his remarks. The ruling party, however, defended the PM, saying the government is willing to have a discussion on demonetization, but the opposition is not allowing parliament to function smoothly.
और प्रधानमंत्री जी संसद में लोकसभा में बोलना चाहते हैं, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी बोलने नहीं दिया जा रहा, इसलिए वो जनसभा में सीधे जनता को संबोधित कर रहे हैं। विपक्ष को इससे कुछ सीखना चाहिए।
Both House of Parliament have witnessed repeated adjournments since the beginning of the winter session due to a stalemate between the government and the opposition on the issue of demonetization. Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the AIADMK today rejected reports of any rift in the party. The party is all set to hold an election to choose its General Secretary, a post that was held by late J. Jayalalitha. Amid speculation that the former Chief Minister's confidant Sasikala is the frontrunner, senior leaders met her yesterday at the Post Garden residence of the late Chief Minister. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Paneerselvam held his first cabinet meeting today after taking over the post.
The AIADMK stepped into damage control mode on Saturday in the wake of speculation as to who will lead the party. Addressing media persons at the party headquarters, senior party member C. Ponnayan said a general council meeting will be called soon to elect the general secretary.
There is no competition in the party for the general secretaryship. There is no infight within the party for the post. People are united. All the cadres are united, all the higher level, other office bearers are united.
Denying any reports of a rift in the party or competition for the post, Ponnayan said the post will be filled by somebody who has the capability to nurture and grow the party. But he insisted that as of now, no one has been identified. Ponnayan also described as baseless reports that the party cadres were angry about the circumstances surrounding Jayalalitha's death and the allegations against her.
Whoever is fit enough to take care of the party, whoever is fit enough to take care of the cadres of the party and the public of Tamil Nadu at large will become sooner the General Secretary of the party.
Ponnayan claimed the level of unity within the party is immeasurable. Contradicting the claims, however, the AIADMK tweeted that senior party functionaries had urged Shashikala to lead the party on the path shown by Jayalalitha. This was after they met Shashikala at Poise Garden, the residence of former Chief Minister Jayalalitha. Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the CBI was granted 4 days custody of former Air Force Chief SP Tyagi for questioning. Tyagi was produced in a Delhi court today in connection with the Augusta-Westland chopper deal. The investigating officials have claimed that Tyagi, along with his cousin Sanjeev alias Julie Tyagi and Delhi-based lawyer Gautam Khaitan, had allegedly received kickbacks to swing the 3,600 crore rupees chopper deal in favor of the UK-based helicopter maker. Tyagi has stated that the change of specifications in the deal was a collective decision involving many departments. On Friday, he was questioned for over 4 hours by the CBI. Tyagi is the first service chief, acting or retired, to be arrested in a corruption scam.
We are all law-abiding people, and I'm sure whatever comes out in the final outcome after the final inquiry and the judicial process, we'll accept that, no problem.
Moving on, now Vice President Hamid Ansari inaugurated the Biju Patnaik Rural Hockey Championship in Rourkela on Saturday. 1,458 teams from Odisha are participating in the tournament.
Over 10,000 hockey players from the state of Odisha gathered in one place. If that fails to impress you, then this might. They all belong to the tribal community. Even Vice President Hamid Ansari, who came to inaugurate the Biju Patnaik Rural Hockey Championship, was visibly impressed.
मैंने कभी स्पोर्ट्स स्टेडियम में खेल देखा है, कभी-कभी पॉलिटिकल या कल्चरल मीटिंग्स भी देखी हैं, मगर स्पोर्ट्स की मीटिंग इतने बड़े स्टेडियम में कभी नहीं देखी। इतना बड़ा हॉकी टूर्नामेंट दुनिया में कहीं नहीं होता है।
The Vice President also had a word of praise for the tribal players from the Chota Nagpur area.
मुझे कभी-कभी ओलंपियन से मिलने का मौका मिला है, मगर इतने ओलंपियन से एक साथ मिलने का कभी मौका नहीं मिला। इस खेल को जारी रखा है और यहाँ की सरकार ने और यहाँ के सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ने इसको पूरी तरीके से एनकरेज किया है।
The nearly 1,500 teams from Odisha's rural and tribal areas will participate in this championship over the next 60 days. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a roundup now of all the other national news and nationwide. Industrialist Pawan Ruya was arrested by West Bengal CID team from his New Delhi residence on Saturday. He was arrested in connection with a complaint of theft lodged by Railway Ministry that alleged goods worth 50 crore rupees were stolen last month. He has been summoned for a case registered at Kolkata's Damdam police station. Over 2,376 tourists were rescued via air and sea from the Havelock and Neil Islands in Andaman late on Friday evening. As the weather cleared, Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force and Union Territory Administration started a joint evacuation drive and brought back all stranded tourists to Port Blair from Havelock Islands. The tourists were stranded since Monday as heavy rains prevented rescue work. Srinagar on Saturday recorded the season's coldest night so far as the minimum temperature dropped to minus 4.5 degrees Celsius. Temperatures continued to fall across the valley due to clear night sky. Foggy weather disrupted air traffic for the third consecutive day. According to Met Department, light snow in the higher reaches and rains in the plains are likely during the next 24 hours, bringing some relief from heavy fog. And it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshura and you're watching Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha TV.
In that situation, it may not be treated as a tax compliant demerger.
This is one direct benefit which a company gets for employing more people.
Basically what they are trying to do is that they are trying to give greater flexibility to the owners or the shareholders.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
From cowries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicetas' daughter.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. tradition and cultural fervor dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
St. Thomas Basilica, one of the world's 3 churches that is built over the Tomb of Apostles. St. Thomas was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ who brought Christianity to India. With an underground tomb where the remains of St. Thomas are laid, this magnificent basilica is of Gothic architecture. The stained glass of the church depicts some divine moments of St. Thomas's life. In 2006, this church was conferred with the status of national shrine.
ISRO's great strength is system management. For that, Professor Dhawan made me a scientific secretary ISRO. In fact, for our Vision 2020, I think Indian Express has something I described in one line, saying that we look ahead, but you have to look how you go. We have not liberated education. Liberated as we did for industry.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Y.S. Rajan, Honorary Distinguished Professor ISRO, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Hampi, the austere, grandiose site, was the capital of the last great Hindu kingdom of Vijayanagar. Enriched by the cotton and the spice trade, Hampi was one of the most beautiful cities of the medieval world. Its palaces and Dravidian temples were admired by Arab, Portuguese and Italian travelers. Built between 1336 to 1570 AD, the city was pillaged over a period of 6 months before being abandoned, and is now one of the most striking ruins of the world.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, in cricket, India has gained the upper hand in the 4th test against England in Mumbai. The hosts ended the day with a 51-run lead, having raked up 451 runs for 7 wickets. Virat Kohli and Murali Vijay were the stars as India dominated at the Wankhede. Kohli notched up his 15th test century, ending the day still at the crease at a formidable 147 runs. In the process, he also went past 4,000 runs and notched up 1,000 runs in the calendar year. Murali Vijay added 136 runs to the scoreboard before being caught and bowled by Adil Rashid. Jayant Yadav is giving Kohli much needed support from the other end. Moving on to some international news now. US President-elect Donald Trump's transition team has hit at the country's intelligence agencies for suggesting that Russia acted covertly to boost Donald Trump in the election race. The intelligence officials found that Russia had provided WikiLeaks with hacked emails from the Democratic camp, but Trump's team's terse remarks threatened to cast an early cloud over relations between the Trump White House and the CIA.
Even before taking charge as the president, Donald Trump has risked an early feud with the country's intelligence agencies. As reports emerged in media on Friday over agencies being confident of a Russian espionage operation targeting the presidential race, Trump's transition team slammed the CIA over the suggestion that Russia intervened in the election to help him win. Now, referring to the agency's most humiliating intelligence misfires, Trump's team said these are the same people that said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. It added the election ended a long time ago in one of the biggest electoral college victories in history. It is now time to move on and make America great again. US intelligence community is increasingly confident that Russian meddling in the US election was intended to steer the election towards Trump, rather than simply to undermine or in other ways disrupt the political process. They have reportedly identified individuals connected to the Russian government who gave WikiLeaks thousands of hacked emails from the Democratic camp that were later released. Now, Democrats claim the hacks were a deliberate attempt to undermine Hillary Clinton's campaign. On Friday, President Barack Obama ordered a full review into hacking aimed at influencing US elections going back to 2008. Russia has meanwhile demanded evidence of its alleged involvement in the election and denied any wrongdoing. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Syrian government forces continue to pound rebel-held areas in Aleppo as they close in for a victory. The US and Russia are to meet in Geneva later in the evening to discuss the situation in Aleppo. The UN on Friday voted heavily in favor, demanding a truce in Syria and an end to the siege in Aleppo.
The Syrian government appears closer to victory in Aleppo as forces continue to press ahead with their offensive in a bid to retake the city from the rebels. Russia's Air Force and Iran-backed Shiite militias are fighting alongside the government. The Allied forces have driven rebels from most of their territory in the last 2 weeks and now control more than 90% of the city.
Обращаю внимание, что данные результаты достигнуты сухопутной группировкой сирийских войск. Авиация России в районе Алеппо не применяется с 18 октября.
But as the fighting continues, US and Russian officials are due to meet in Geneva to work out details of the rebels' exit from eastern Aleppo. France already hosted a meeting on Saturday to discuss the situation in Aleppo with diplomats from the United States, the EU and Arab countries and members of Syria's opposition taking part. US Secretary of State John Kerry said he was working to ensure their safety and to save Aleppo from being absolutely, completely destroyed. The United Nations General Assembly on Friday voted heavily in favor of an immediate cessation of hostilities in Syria, allowing humanitarian aid access throughout the country and an end to all sieges. However, India, along with 35 other nations, abstained from voting on the resolution.
This is a vote to stand up and tell Russia and Assad to stop the carnage. This is a vote to defend the bedrock principles of how states should act, even in war. This is a vote to demand food, medicine, and safety urgently for a population in eastern Aleppo who have none.
In another parallel war in Syria against the Islamic State, the US will send 200 more military personnel to help fight the terrorist group in its stronghold of Raqqa. They will join 300 US special forces who are already in Syria. A US-led coalition has been fighting the Islamic State, mainly through airstrikes in Syria and in neighboring Iraq.
I can tell you today that the United States will deploy approximately 200 additional US forces in Syria, including Special Operations Forces trainers, advisors, and explosive ordnance disposal teams. These uniquely skilled operators will join the 300 U.S. Special Operations Forces already in Syria.
With fighting intensifying in Aleppo in the recent weeks, nearly 50,000 civilians have fled the city. A crackdown by Assad on pro-democracy protesters in 2011 sparked a civil war, and Islamic State militants have used the chaos to seize territory both in Syria and Iraq. In the war, half of Syria's 22 million people have been uprooted and more than 4 lakh have been killed. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. A train carrying liquid petroleum gas derailed and exploded in Bulgaria, killing at least 4 people. More than 20 people are being treated in a hospital after the incident. The authorities ordered an evacuation as firefighters battled the blaze. At least 20 buildings were damaged in the derailment and explosion. At least 45,000 people were displaced by the powerful earthquake that hit Indonesia's Aceh province. The government and aid agencies joined hands for rescue and relief operations. The estimate of the number of homeless people continues to grow while relief efforts fan out across the 3 districts near the epicenter of Wednesday's magnitude 6.5 quake. Two schoolgirl suicide bombers killed 56 people and wounded dozens more in a coordinated attack in Madangali town of Nigeria on Friday. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, but the blast bore the hallmarks of Boko Haram, which has carried out numerous suicide attacks in its 7-year campaign against the Nigerian government in the troubled region. That's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.